Hi, welcome back to Tako Talk. My name is Stephen Tako, author of Motivated to Act and public speaker on anti-bullying topics, self-esteem building. And I have a lovely guest today. Her name is Cecily Gish, and thank you so much for coming out today. You know, what I always do here on Tako Talk is I bring in guests that have some sort of experience with bullying, and then also self-esteem building. So I've got experts that come in, I've got psychologists, I have actors, I have business people, I have regular mom and pop folks. So which one are you?
I think I fall into the category of regular mom and pop folks.
Sweet. Now we chatted a little bit. In fact, this is the first time that we've actually met in person. We've been Facebook friends for a little while, and we've been connecting, and you've seen some of the posts that I've been doing about my anti-bullying movement, and then you reached out to me and you said, look, Stephen, I've got a story that I want to share. So, are you guys ready to hear her story? I think that we are. So basically just let us know, why it is that you're here today, and tell us your story.
Well, I, as a child, was my school bully, and it was a weird time for me, but I didn't know anything else, and I think everybody in my family was surprised.
Surprised when they found out?
When they found out that I was the bully, which is interesting to me because I think for children, you learn from your parents, and in my home, conflict resolution was bullying or aggression.
That's what
I mimicked, yeah. So you mimic your parents.
Right.
So it's important to remember what you do is what your kids are going to do. And so if bullying and aggression are the way my parents handle their issues, that's how I do it.
Okay.
As a child.
Right.
And so I was a school bully for quite a long time, spent a lot of time in the principal's office, didn't have friends.
Now, what were some of the things that you did to classify yourself as a bully, and did you know when you were a kid? Did you know that you were the bully? I think some kids are going through life where they don't really even understand. It's what they know how to do, and this is their action, and nobody's clearly labeled the fact that listen, this is what it is that you're doing. You are a bully, or your act of what you're doing is bullying.
Right. I don't think I knew specifically that I was a bully for quite a long time. I would take things from other kids. I bit, I scratched, I hit to get my way, because I think I didn't have the skills, the reasoning skills that I think that a lot of kids do have. And so I just approached things the way I knew how, which was a weird process in the grand scheme. I found out, I guess, I was a bully once I got to be school age, and I was spending a lot of time in the principal's office. And
so did you start, when at what age would you say that this all started? That obviously I don't think you were probably 12 years old and you were biting people.
No, I wasn't 12 years old anymore. But I would say, I remember when it ended. That was in 4th grade. I was 9. But
so maybe preschool and elementary.
Yeah, everything up until 2nd grade. I didn't even have my first friend until 2nd grade, because who would want to be friends with the bully? I was also a lot bigger than the other kids.
Oh, really?
I grew incredibly fast. I stopped growing when I was 12, but I was the biggest kid in my grade. And
you stopped growing at 12?
I did, at 5'8".
Wow.
So I was a lot taller than the other kids. I was treated, I think, by the world differently because they assumed I was older than I was because of my height. So even in ballet class, I was with kids 2 years older than me, so that we were the same height for the recital.
Now, when you, it's interesting, when you were being the bully, did you what kind of feeling did you have? Like when you put some other kid down, I mean, was it, because what we hear, from other bullies is that, there was a level of satisfaction, but it never lasted. It was like a short term, like a cocaine fix type of thing, and then it didn't last.
And I don't think that's how it was for me. For me, it was the anticipation that was what was going to happen. Once I do this, I'll feel good. But I never did. So I need to do it again, because then I'll feel good.
Right.
But then I didn't, so I need to do it again. And
it's a constant yearning.
Yeah, trying to, I guess, figure out how to put all the pieces together to have a cohesive life. I mean, it's a weird thing for a little kid to be thinking about. But,
well, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your family life.
All right.
So you had said that there was maybe some dysfunction or something going on in your family life, and so in most cases what we find from bullies is that they normally don't have a real terrific, and pardon me if I get into some sensitive topics, but they don't normally have like a real good nurturing from their mom and dad. Usually it's always, there's some sort of neglect going on, or sometimes abuse, and it's not always from the parents. Sometimes it's from siblings or a cousin. There's one of my guests told me afterwards that their son was molested by the cousin that went to go live with them, that was 10 years older. The boy was 6 and the cousin was 16. And that boy, it turned out that he had a lot of aggression that came out, and years of therapy as well. So what kind of like family life did you have that may be responsible for some of the bullying actions and some of the endless seeking that you were trying to get?
Well, my father was a diagnosed sociopath. And which I know is a term we don't use today, but in the 80s it was. And
what was it? So bipolar now? Is it what?
Now it's dissociative disorder.
Oh, okay.
So he was very narcissistic and self-centered, and would only do things that would benefit himself. Sometimes you might benefit from what he was doing, but it wasn't for you. But he was doing it for himself, and he wanted to look good to the rest of the world. So he might do something nice that benefits you, but it wasn't really for you, it was for the result for him. So, behind closed doors, it was anything goes as long as he gets his way and what he wants. And my mother just wasn't courageous enough to get away, to stop it, to protect us.
Well, was he doing like abusive things?
He was physically abusive and very much
mentally too.
Yes, psychologically, just lots of screaming and yelling and spankings. Sometimes it felt like for no reason.
Now, would you say that the outside world looking in, do you think now as an adult looking back, do you think that your neighbors or relatives had a clue as to what was going on?
Nope.
Or did it look like it was a regular, normal, happy family?
Nope. I think it was a different time, and I don't mean that necessarily in a good way, but I think in some families abuse is a tradition, and it just continues down, and I think just because something's a tradition doesn't mean it should continue. Traditions aren't all good. I think that sometimes you see it and you go, I didn't enjoy this when it was happening to me. Hey, how about if I don't inflict it on somebody else? And I'm, part of that generation in my family, which is really great.
You have siblings?
I do have a brother.
One brother. Older, younger?
Younger.
Younger. Was he also a bully? Do you know? No.
He was definitely not a bully.
Now, did you bully him?
Oh, sure. Sure. I was the bigger, meaner sister.
But he never reciprocated that then. Like, he took the abuse from you, but you never heard of times where he was at school and he took it out on anybody else?
No, he was more passive in his stuff. So there was a joke, it's a joke now that we have, oh my eye. If I got anywhere near his head or anything when we were fighting and I hit his shoulder, he would scream, oh my eye.
Oh, my eye!
Yeah.
Oh, my eye!
Yeah. And my mom would come running and I'd get in trouble. And
So it worked. It worked for
so,
him.
so, you know, it was a passive way to get me off his back. So,
Right.
I mean, kudos to him for being so ingenious.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's a good point. So did the school? So the school recognized that you were causing
Right.
mischief and problems, and you said you were going to the principal's office a lot.
But I was a good student. I wasn't bruised up. I
What, a good student academically?
academically, I didn't
Just
have
not socially.
I had social issues. I was fine in the classroom. The teachers all loved me. I was adorable. You know, there was nothing, there were no red flags, I would say. So why would anybody think? I mean, I was fed, I was clothed.
Right.
You know,
right.
there was none of that typical, or what we think of as a typical red flag to abuse. So,
Okay, now
Yeah.
you've graduated high school. You're an adult. You're out in the world, and I know we're gonna backtrack a little bit, but just right now, do you ever think about the kids that you bullied? Do you ever have like
I
little
do.
visions of these little kids that were like running away screaming from you on the playground?
I do. In fact, I remember one in particular who I actually am Facebook friends with now, who I stole her charm necklace. I made her trade with me. Trade.
Yeah.
Basically, I stole hers and threw mine at her. And I still feel bad about that. And probably 10 years ago, I was going through some stuff and I came across her charm necklace. I kept it.
Wow.
Probably to make amends or something. And then we talked about it on Facebook, and
then you
she's
mailed it to her?
cool. I don't have it anymore. I think at that point I was like, I'll never find her again. It was pre-Facebook. So,
Yeah.
but you know, I am friends with several of those people on Facebook now, and I hope that they know that how sorry I am, and I just didn't know better. I really didn't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know that I have some adult friends and people that watch the show, and in my book, the first chapter, I deal with bullying a lot. You know, it's called The Damaged Child, and in there I share a couple stories of some terrible things that happened to me when I was in third grade. Certainly some kids had it a lot worse than I did, but this was my story. And so it was terrible at times, and I was lonely, and I was the kid that was getting picked on a lot. And so I appreciate the fact that here you are now as an adult, and you feel bad about it. You want to make amends in any way that you can. Now you had mentioned to me, because I chose to get over it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
As a victim, I chose to get over it because it doesn't serve me anymore. There's no reason for me to carry this feeling. Yet some of the people that I'm associating with, they're still scarred by actions of people. Pardon me, but people, children like
I
you.
was, yeah.
You know, like things that you did. And I implore it. Anybody that's watching this is like, if you were ever a victim as a child. Because of this woman. No, because because of anybody that was bullying you. I mean, just think of the situation that you don't know what type of situation that person was in. It might have looked like, wow, they had nice clothes and they were fed and they were A students and everything else, but there was something going on psychologically that caused them this constant yearning and yearning and yearning that was so unfulfilled. Or maybe it was shortly fulfilled, and like a drug, they're always seeking. And so it's time to just kind of get past that. I mean, maybe see a therapist, or just like myself. I took myself out of a different situation. I moved from Ohio to California. I was here for like a couple of years, and all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? It doesn't serve me to be holding on to all this stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for me to forgive those little kids. They were kids, and kids tend to do dumb things that they wouldn't normally do as an adult. Now some carry on to be adults that are still bullies, but a lot of them are just they're just making mistakes when they were a kid. Mm-hmm. They don't know any better. Now you had said in our pre-interview that you also were bullied.
I was.
So can you tell us about that?
I quit being a bully in 4th grade when I found an outlet. and found a way to create and to resolve conflicts through theater. And I was part of a self-esteem building program that culminated in a show. It was truly life-changing.
Yeah.
And then we moved away for a year, which was interesting. That was when this happened. Then we moved back, and I was back at the old school where I'd been the bully. And it was right around middle school, so schools were merging. And there was this kid, pretty much the antithesis of me, tiny little guy, and he bullied me.
Wow.
This giant girl.
Yeah. So he had like Napoleon syndrome.
That would be my assumption, but I don't know what his life was either.
Right.
He was a new kid to me, and he just, I've learned now not to hit people, and it was hard because now I didn't know what to do because I was on the other side. And
right. How did you get through it?
I continued doing theater and made a new batch of friends, and just really I just tried to avoid this kid as much as possible. He was one of the popular kids, and I was not. So I think that was maybe helpful that we weren't in the same circle, because I know there's a lot of frenemies, in school where, bullying that people don't even realize is bullying but we're friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Happily that wasn't the case here. It's somebody that I've never seen again, but I wonder about. I wonder whatever happened to Ricky. What?
But what's cool is, it's unfortunate that you got bullied, but you were able to all of a sudden realize clearly.
Yes.
Wow, this is what it's like on the opposite side.
Yes.
And now you can feel a little bit more compassion for a lot more for the other kids.
And I think that's why I didn't act out against that kid, is because, I think just relating and remembering what it felt like to be in his shoes just. And
then maybe he
needed it.
Yeah, he needed it.
And I didn't, and me taking him down a peg wasn't going to make things better for either of us. Yeah. So I guess I just let him have that for himself. And
as long as it wasn't affecting you too bad.
It did. But I think it helped me grow. I feel like it was, you go to the gym, you work out, you tear your muscles so that they can grow. I feel like it was that kind of a.
So you grew from it.
Thing. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, we're actually running out of time, but I just wanted to say, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's not that often that we have somebody brave enough to come out and say, look, hey world, I was the bully, but the fact is that you're not a bully anymore.
Nope.
Right?
And everybody's shocked.
So can I have a hug?
Of course.
Oh, my eye. Oh. My eye. Oh, wow. Okay, well that's it. That's it, you guys. Thanks for tuning in to Tako Talk, and make sure that you are kind to everybody, and this woman very courageous for coming on the show. So thanks again, and you guys have a great day.
Bye.